such a pervert. Good morning, friends. So it is day 1 of Fantasyathon for me. So it is officially April 4th. I'm starting a day early due to the fact that on the 13th, I have another readathon that I'll be participating in. And it's a 24-hour manga-based, and it's based on siblings. And there aren't a lot of fantasy titles that fall into that category for me. Those are mostly my contemporary or shoujo-style mangas. So I opted to start a day early so I don't really lose that day. And the other thing I've got going is my goal is to finish the 4 books from my TBR by the end of the 12th. Because Tome Topple technically starts on the 13th. And I'm tackling a ton of giant... Oh, gosh. Sorry. I'm tackling I'm tackling a bunch of giant fantasies for that. So I thought if I could get all the other ones finished in time, then I could just start right into the Tome Topple reads, because there's going to be like 3,000 pages in that. So I did the math, and I have to read about 250 pages a day during Fantasyathon to get everything read by the 13th for the 4 books that I have picked out. So I've got, sorry, they're just sitting over there. I've got All the Wandering Light, The Wicked King, Crown of Feathers, and The Ruin of Kings. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with The Wicked King, because that's the one I think I'm most likely to put down if I don't enjoy it, because I know, unpopular opinion here, I wasn't as madly in love with The Cruel Prince as everybody else, but I did like the direction it was headed, which is why I was interested enough to pick up The Wicked King, and it's also part of why I haven't read it yet, because I'm afraid I'm not going to like it, and I don't want you guys to come at me for it, but it's time. Mel from Mel to the Any loves it so much, and our fantasy tastes are very similar, really. And I might have just been, like, in a really weird headspace when I read The Cruel Prince, because that was kind of at a slumpy time when I was reading. Even though I was still reading consistently, I wasn't loving anything that I was reading, so I think I was just kind of in a slump with what I was reading. So I'm hopeful for The Wicked King. I'm hoping I will like it more. So I think that's going to be my start. The other thing that I'm doing in the month of April, because I am so extra apparently, is I'm doing the Lohali 30 for 30 challenge. And the goal for that is to read 30 volumes of manga in the 30 days of April. So far, I've been very consistent. I've done the first 3 days. Today's day 4. And I do have fantasy titles picked out for all of the Fantasyathon days. So today is Yona of the Dawn, Volume 13. I can tell you this story is wholly addictive for me, so it's going to be hard to stop at 1 today. But I have another series that I absolutely love and adore, that if I reach my reading goal for today in the fantasy novel, to read 250 pages of The Wicked King, and read sorry, it was upside down, then what I can do is read a volume of the other series that I really love. I also have some review copies I need to get read, so I might start one of those. I'm just going to be all over the place in this vlog, so I apologize in advance. Okay, so it's been a bit, even though I'm in the same position. My hair's all dry. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, and I first started this video, I don't know, somewhere between 8 and 9 this morning. I don't remember exactly. But I finished my volume of manga, and I am now 60 pages into The Wicked King, and holy crap. I just read the part where she's talking about her feelings for Carden while he sleeps in her room, and I don't know that I'm Team Carden and Jude, but I'm really liking their dynamic right now. I like that he's honest with her. You know, he had to be so mean and cruel growing up for his own sake and for his own reasons, and I'm not going to justify his behavior because there's nothing to be justified. But it's interesting to see their dynamic now that they've kind of aired out all the dirty laundry and they're in their agreement that they're in The Wicked King. And it's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I I'm torn whether to like or dislike Carden, I think is what it really comes down to. There are things I definitely like about the dude, but there are definitely things I don't like about the dude, so I'm like constantly back and forth and torn and I don't know. So hi, someone has decided they want to cuddle me. So reading has become very difficult. Don't you think, Lightsong? It's hard to hold a hardback when the kitten has your arm. Hi, so different location. It's like 8 o'clock at night on day 1 of Fantasyathon. I am officially 200 pages into The Wicked King, and I am so fearful for this next little bit I'm going to read. Because we are about to go into the wedding, and with everything that's been leading up thus far, I'm slightly well, not slightly, I'm very nervous. I am so fetching nervous about this next part. Now, I have to tell you, this book has sucked me in much more than The Cruel Prince did. So already this is going to get a higher rating because I'm much more invested in the story at this point. And I didn't think I was going to get this invested, but I think, oh goodness, I think I'm going to have to revisit The Cruel Prince and read both back to back sometime soon, because I remember just feeling meh about The Cruel Prince, but man, the way the politics are playing in this one, there's so much going on. Like, and the whole scene with Carden, I never knew I could have a thing for a dude with a tail, but I totally think I do now. And, that was very nice. It wasn't nearly enough for my little smutty loving soul, but I'll take what I can get. It was written well. It was definitely putting me in the moment, and I'm like, yes, can I have more details, please? I'm such a pervert. Oh my gosh, it's not even funny. Anyways, so yes, I am like, my eyes are watering because I'm feeling so many things. And Melanie, I think you were right. I'm not sure I was quite ready for this book, but man, I am wholly invested at this point, and holy cow. I'm so glad I decided to keep going in the series after all, because again, I felt kind of meh after I read The Cruel Prince. It's due for a reread, because I very well might have a different opinion of it at this point. I think there was just too much with, like, the whole plotline with Locke I hated, and it totally, like, turned me off to the book. I think that's really what was going on. But, anyhow, yes, that's where I'm at the moment, and after the wedding, I'm sure we will be chatting, so chat with you soon! Hi, hello. So this is going to be my last check-in for day 1, and I've reached my reading goal for tonight, but with what I'm feeling right now, I want to keep going. I won't do another check-in till tomorrow morning, but yeah. Wow. My heart hurts so bad right now. The things that have just happened in this book are trying to tear out my soul. I'm so attached. It's not even funny. I haven't been this attached to a second book in a series in quite a while. I don't think since I read Girl in the Tower that I've been this attached to a second book in the series. Yeah, I think that's right. Because most of my other ones I've been attached to have either been conclusions or starts to new series. And I'm like, because usually middle books aren't my favorite. You know, there's usually something weird going on that I just don't agree with and I don't like. But man, I like this better than I liked the first one. By a lot. By a lot. Which makes me think I need to revisit the first one. I think I was just in a bad headspace when I read it, honestly. So yeah, that's my plans for tonight. Those are my feelings. And if you want to know my full thoughts, you should check my Goodreads, because I've been like updating every couple of chapters on what I'm feeling. And yeah, if you want more specific feelings, that's where you want to be for these, because man, Good morning, friends. So it is officially the first day of Fantasyathon for everybody else, but day 2 for me. I am quickly getting ready in my bathroom because it took me forever to get to sleep last night. I finished The Wicked King, and holy crap, people. Like, this book, like, took it to next level. Like, serious next level for me. I seriously... I still can't even fully form my thoughts, and it's been like 12 hours almost since I finished this book. And I'm just struggling to come up with the words that I want. By the way, I'm just hurrying and putting on my makeup while we talk because, yeah, like literally it was like 3 a.m. by the time my brain shut down enough from reading this to like function, to sleep. Because I kept going back and decompressing everything. I don't remember doing this with the first book. So I think, for me at least, the writing must be better, more enjoyable, more dense is probably the word I'm looking for. Fantasies can or can't be dense. And I think the first one felt a little more, at least when I read it, I very well could change my mind by now. Like if I went back and reread it. But I just think it was a little more surface level than The Wicked King. Then again, in the first one, you have to establish characters, establish the relationships between those characters, and that can have its moments where it feels a little less dense, a little more shallow, but the political playing field that was this book and the master manipulations that were going on all levels, like, it was insane. I'm trying so hard to be, like, not spoilery still, but, like, seriously, guys, this is just, again, it's, like, next level. I am so glad I picked this up, and I have no regrets. My poor husband didn't sleep last night either, so I feel bad about that, poor guy. Because it wasn't his fault, but I couldn't sleep, and so I got out of the bed in our bedroom and clicking things, and my friends were I'm in a Twitter chat with a bunch of my MangaTube friends, and we were really chatty last night, and so that kept him up because my phone kept buzzing, and it was just the nature of it. So I'm sorry again to my sweet, sweet husband, who is a pure cinnamon roll. He's got his feisty side, but he really is a cinnamon roll, guys. He's just amazing. So, yes. Anyway, The Wicked King, I gave it 5 stars. As I said yesterday, I didn't know I could have a thing for a dude with a tail, ever. But I am now carding trash. Even though, like, I'm clearly, like, attracted to the dude at this point. But I'm also mad at the dude. Like, he has that tsundere thing going for him. If you aren't familiar with that term, it's a term in Japanese culture talking about someone who, like, this is typically like a romantic character who's mean. So that's kind of the easiest way to kind of describe it. But yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Carden. It's just what I've got. And like I say, I physically, clearly, I have no issues there. Like, I like him. I think he's great. As I keep mentioning, I think I have a thing for a dude with tails. So, I don't know. But that ending, I think that's part of my struggle with these books with Holly Black. Each time you think you've made major progress with Jude and with Carden, and you think things are good, and then all of a sudden, crap hits the fan, and everything you thought you knew, you don't. And I have a love-hate relationship with that kind of a thing. I do. Because part of me lives for that moment, and the other part of me is like, but no, I want them to figure this out. I want them to be together. But then I have to remind myself, oh my gosh, these kids are like 18 making these kinds of decisions. They are not seasoned adults, despite the maturity of a lot of the other content within these things. So, man, I was a little heavy with the blush and bronzer today. But yeah, so that's just kind of where I'm at this morning. It took me forever to decompress things. I'm still decompressing things. And it's just my life at the moment. But it's time to move on. So by finishing off the book last night, I'm ahead on my reading schedule for today, which is good. Because then I don't feel rushed. So I'm already like 90 pages into my 250 page goal. But with the book I'm starting today, which is going to be All the Wandering Light, I want to read at least 200 pages. Now, granted, yesterday was not a work day. Today is a work day. So that's obviously going to make things a bit different. And I'm behind on filming things, so I need to film today, and there's just lots. There's lots and lots and lots of things. And I have to do all the things today, so it's gonna be a wild ride. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this fangirl sesh about the Wicked King while I do my makeup, because let's be real, that's exactly what this is. And I really am looking forward to more. The cover for the next book in the series has dropped now. It's called The Queen of Nothing. And I saw that cover when I was about halfway through this book. And I was like, Queen of Nothing? What does that stand for? By the end of the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, what the crap? So yeah, I'm struggle. I have a love-hate relationship with it. This one was very clearly 5 stars, though. I keep saying this in the vlog, but I do think I need to revisit The Cruel Prince, because I think I was probably too cruel myself and too heavy-handed with that first read-through, where I was trying to find reasons not to like it, I think, is what it's coming down to, and that I'm realizing in hindsight. So I really am hopeful that I don't continue to be that way. I'm an eyeliner. I'll be back. Okay, so now that I'm makeuped and, feeling a little ghosty out here. That's right, because I need to drop my hair. Okay, that's a little better. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's the plan for today. Well, I didn't fully execute the plan. So I want to read the first 200 pages of All the Wandering Light by Heather Fawcett. This is book 2 in a series. The first book, Even the Darkest Stars, I really liked, but nobody's really talking about. It's like a survival story with witchy elements, and I really enjoyed it. So that is the plan for today, is to get 200 pages into its sequel, All the Wandering Light, and then to read my volume for the Lohali 30 for 30, which is going to be Yona of the Dawn, volume 14 today. I'm still loving my foray into Yona. I only have a couple of volumes left before I'm current, which is part of why I'm okay just taking it one day at a time rather than binging them all. I wasn't sure I was going to feel about that yesterday, but I'm like, you know what? I just get me a little taste of Yona every day for the next few days, because I only have till volume 17. So after today, I'll only have 3 more volumes. So I think kind of savoring it until I can get volume, savoring the read before I get current is kind of nice. So I'm all for that. And yeah, that's today's reading plans. I do have work. Hey friends, so it is now a Sunday, April 7th. So this is technically day 3 of Fantasyathon, but it's day 4 for me. I really didn't read much yesterday, if I'm honest. So I am now like 120-ish pages into All the Wandering Light. And this weekend is general conference for my religion. And so we basically spend 8 hours over 2 days listening to the leaders of our church talk about what they feel we need to hear. And sometimes there are changes in policy in the church or updated things that they're making, like the changes that they make within the church, because as the church grows and as the world changes, things within the church have to change as well. Just recently, this last week, there was an update on how the church treats and feels families and the children of LGBT parents. I am really happy with the update that they made to the policy on those unconventional families for our religion, because I think it is better. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's better, and that makes me happy. So, anyways, I've got 2 more hours of that. That's going to start here in just a couple minutes. And then the rest of the evening is dedicated to finishing All the Wandering Light. And I am really enjoying it. I think it's just a duology at this point, and I can see it heading a certain direction, and I'm not sure I'm a fan of it, and maybe that's why I haven't been super motivated to keep going. Yesterday I did read, so I ended up reading like 70 pages in that yesterday, as well as my volume of Yona of the Dawn yesterday. I still need to read my volume of Yona of the Dawn for today, which is volume 16, with the lovely hawk on the cover. And yeah, that's kind of my plan. Yeah, I will update you when I have more. But until then, I hope your reading's going well, and we'll see you later. Hey friends, so it's now much later on Sunday. I am about 300 pages in to All the Wandering Light now. There's a good chance I'll finish. There's a little over 100 pages left. And it's only about, 8:30, 8:45-ish?
8:45.
Yeah, 8:45. So I've got time before I need to go to bed. So I think I'm just going to spend the rest of this evening reading. And then tomorrow we'll start another book. Probably Crown of Feathers. Because, yeah, Crown of Feathers just feels right. I guess if Ruin of Kings had to spill over into Tome Topple, I'd be okay with that. Because it is over 500 pages, so it meets the requirement, but Crown of Feathers is not. So I think that's why I want to do that one first. Plus, I think Crown of Feathers will just go faster, and Ruin of Kings felt really dense when I tried to read it last time, even though it was entertaining. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Hi friends, good morning. So it is, let's see, today is the 8th, so it is day, 4? A Fantasyathon for me. Day 3 for everybody else. Well, let's see. It started on the 5th, so 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So it's day 4 for everyone else. It's day 5 for me. So I have reached, the almost halfway day for Fantasyathon. And I did finish All the Wandering Light last night. And I have to say, I was let down by the ending. So I'm going to try to talk in as much non-spoiler as I can here. But if you are not interested in anything potentially spoilery for All the Wandering Light, go ahead and skip ahead and until the book comes down, because I'm going to put a image of the book. And I'll be done talking about the spoilery type stuff then. But this is the core reason why I didn't enjoy the ending. So if you want to know that, and again, I'll try to keep it as vague as possible, then go ahead and stick around. So, in this duology, there is a plot device in which the male romantic interest betrays the trust of our female romantic interest. And we know that because it's YA, that they're going to end up together by the end of the book. That's just, by the end of the series, that's just what you expect. So, when it came to this particular plot point, I don't think it was executed well. Considering how much betrayal our female lead Kamzin felt towards River, our male lead, there wasn't nearly enough of a conversation to truly rectify those feelings before they're back together. And that really bothered me, because that makes me feel like she's settling for this guy. And, you know, there's some other stuff that plays into that is huge spoilery, so I'm not going to mention it. And I think that's what gave the author the justification to choose to not have that major conversation between the two. But I still think the conversation was necessary because it just felt like it didn't quite fit. And you never want that at the end of the book. You never want that part to feel like it doesn't fit. If there's going to be a romantic pairing at the end of the book, you want it to feel like it fits. You want to root for the couple. You want all of those things. So I struggled with that. Outside of that, it was a fantastic book. I ended up with a 3.5 star because that plot element is such a big deal in YA, especially because I don't want girls thinking it's okay if the dude comes back, says something nice, or does one thing nice, and she can automatically say, oh, I love you again. Like, I don't want any teenage girl to ever think that's okay. No one should ever be disrespected like that. Conversations are very important. You have to air out all the dirty laundry. Like, you just have to. For a successful relationship, that's what you have to do. So that's where I'm at with that. But moving on, I'm continuing for my, non-traditional format. I've been reading manga every day since the readathon started, as you guys know. And I have my last volume of Yona of the Dawn because I am now current with the publish, which makes me a little bit sad just because I love the story so much. But I know it's also currently publishing in Japan still, so we still have, lots of content to go. I believe they published up to volume 28 in Japan. And so I still have 11 more volumes to get to. So I'm excited for that. And then I did grab Crown of Feathers to take with me to work today. So today's office day. I have a couple of bills to take care of in the morning. And then it's just laundry and reading and a little bit of cleaning. So totally doable. Quick update, guys. Oh, my hair's everywhere. But I just don't care today. It's an office day and I'm just not working. Not working. That's wrong. I'm not worrying about being extra pretty today. So I'm sorry you get naked face Shay in this vlog and a huge giant breakout right here that's still healing. Anyways, I'm now a little over 100 pages into Crown of Feathers by Nikki Pao Preto. And one of my favorite tropes in fiction just entered the scene, and that is the one where the girl has to cross-dress as a boy to get what she wants. And I don't know why I dig that trope so hard, but I really do. So I'm really looking forward to the next portion of this book. It's almost a 500-page book, so I'm a little over 20% of the way through, and I'm really digging it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break real quick, read my volume of Yona of the Dawn, then come back to Crown of Feathers, because I feel like I need me some Yona. There's been some really heavy stuff in this first 100 or so pages. And before I head into the fun, and this book is compulsorily readable. I mean, I read that 100 pages in about an hour. So it's a quick read. It's fast. I'm really enjoying it. And I've heard that first 100 pages is the hardest part of the book to get through. So from here on out, I expect to just fly through this book. So there is a good chance that I will finish this puppy today, and that would be awesome. That would be amazing. So I'm going to take a break from Crown of Feathers, read me some Yona, and then come back to Crown of Feathers. I would love to get at least 300 pages in before I leave work. Okay, just a moment for my Yona fest, because if you've been around my channel at all, you know my obsession with Yona of the Dawn lately. And what's going on in this volume, breaks my heart at points. I mean, there's good stuff and there's awful stuff. At this point, the people in their own country have turned on their own villages and are wreaking havoc, and it's just bad. And all my dragons are sick, and I'm having a moment where I need the next volume because I need to know my babies are safe and okay. But at the same time, I'm just having an emo moment with my babies. There's a bonus chapter with Jiha, this guy here with the green hair. He's our green dragon at the end, and that just kind of like wrecked me a little bit. That is one thing that's really good about this series is you get so much information on your characters. They're so fleshed out. There's so much going on all the time, yet it takes the time to still give you what you need from your characters. And it's just, so good. Hey guys, so it's time to check in once again. So I am just leaving work now, and today was a really good reading day. So either the writing in Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto was just wholly engaging, or I was just in a really good reading mode because I read the entire book at work. And thankfully I didn't have a lot of other things I needed to do at work, and so I know that helped. But man, like, I inhaled that book. It definitely was, it was a good book. It was not the best book I've ever read, and it's not the best YA book even that I've ever read. Like, it falls into some YA tropes, which is very common, but I think the tropes that it did fall into, it did well. Thankfully, we didn't have the insta-love trope in this one. There is a romantic subplot, but it is more slow burn. Not totally like insta-lovey, like automatically in love with the other person. And I really appreciate it for that. But I think it also, if they had gone the insta-love route, they probably could have cut out about 80 pages of this book. So the length of the book leads to a more progressive, slower burning relationship, which I'm okay with. Like, that definitely didn't bother me about this book at all. That was definitely in its favor. Some of the other tropes it fell into, like I say, all the tropes that it fell into, they were done fairly well, but some of the tropes just aren't my thing. The big thing I noticed, Connor O'Brien mentioned it in his review as well, is the first 100 to 150 pages, you feel like you're getting info dumped on a ton. Like, she just kind of throws all the world information at you all at once, and that could be really overwhelming. So be warned of that if you're going into Crown of Feathers. But all in all, I did like it. I do like Veronica as a character especially. She just was so well developed, and you see her character arc growth so nicely. Like, Nikki Palpretto did a really good job, especially for a debut, with her character development. So I am definitely on board because of that. I will be continuing on in the series. As I said, I gave this one 4 stars. It's definitely worth 4 stars. It's definitely not a 5-star read, but for a debut, it is really well done. But I have read better debuts. So that's all I'm really going to say about that. I'm going to write a more detailed Goodreads review, so you can always check out my Goodreads. For the books, I try to do more of my detailed thoughts in those, though my Wicked King one is pretty small compared to what I really feel about it, so I might go and expand on that and update that. But I am trying to figure out how to better review on Goodreads. So if you like seeing specific things in Goodreads reviews, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really trying to be better about all of that. So anyway, I'm really happy that I read an entire book today, especially considering I didn't think it would take me nearly as long to read All the Wandering Light as it did. And again, I ended up settling on 3.5 stars for that one, because it was a little bit more of a slog, because yeah. Anyway, so yes, 3.5 stars for All the Wandering Light, 4 stars for Crown of Feathers, and 5 stars for The Wicked King. So I've had good reads for all of Fantasyathon thus far. And of course, all my Yona of the Dawn reading, they've all been getting 5 stars because I am Yona of the Dawn trashed. But anyways, so from here, I only have one book left on my Fantasyathon TBR, and that is The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. So I am really interested to see how I feel jumping back into that. I'm told it's formatted a lot like Nevernight, where you're kind of going back and forth between a couple of different timelines, it sounds like. But, it sounds like it's being dictated to someone and they're writing it all down, and then there's like kind of snarky footnotes with corrections. So I think I'm going to enjoy it because I do like that format of, The Name of the Wind, where Kvothe is narrating his life to the chronicler. Even so, you do go back and forth between a couple of different timelines. So I'm really interested to see how I feel about the Ruin of Kings. Hey friends, Shayla here. So I wanted to get on here and start my vlog clip for the day. And it is officially April 9th, which is day 5 of Fantasyathon for me, but day 4 for everybody else. And I just want to briefly recap yesterday. So I read my volume of Yona of the Dawn, and I started and finished Crown of Feathers, which I am surprised that I read it as quickly as I did, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Ended up giving it 4 stars. And then when I got home, instead of picking up the fantasy book I thought I was going to, I ended up picking up a contemporary because I'm a trash can. And what I ended up picking up was A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. I finally caved to the hype and started this, and I am 75% of the way through. So clearly I'm enjoying this book. It is compulsorily readable. I really enjoy the dynamics of our 2 characters. I'm really interested to see how this finishes. The reason why I started this is I do have an arc from NetGalley of the most recent book in the series, but I hadn't gotten around to reading the rest of the series. So I figured, since I'm ahead in Fantasyathon for where I want to be, I'm gonna sneak it in. And yes, so after I got 75% of the way into A Princess in Theory, I started to feel a little bit guilty. So I did pick up Ruin and Rising, or not Ruin and Rising, wrong book. The Ruin of Kings last night, and I ended up reading the first 40-ish pages of that one. So I hope to get to 200 pages in of that one today. So stuff I brought with me to work, not Ruin of Kings. So the first goal is to finish A Princess in Theory, so that's done and out of the way. Then I've got my volume of manga for the day, which is volume 5 of The Demon Prince of Momochi House. That's a series that I'm a bit behind on. I'm working on getting caught up on that one. So I have the next 4 volumes that I'll read over the next 4 days. So that's the plan there. So I brought volume 5 with me. And then I also brought The Cold is in Her Bones. Now, this is our Tell It Again book club book of the month. And I wasn't sure when else I was going to be able to fit this in. So that is why I opted to squeeze that in here. Because I figure at work today, I'm busier than I will be tomorrow. And The Ruin of Kings does take a little more concentration than other books. So tomorrow, where I have an easier, lighter day at work, I'll take Ruin of Kings with me. So I can sit and focus in and get into the density of it all. But I would like to get going at least on The Cold is in Her Bones. Hey friends, so it is much later in the day. It is between 7:30 and 8 at night now. And I should update you on what I've read today, which isn't much. So I read Demon Prince of Momochi House Volume 5. I finished A Princess in Theory. And I read another volume of manga. I haven't touched any of my fantasies today other than the 1 volume of manga. And I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know what's gotten into me. But the review that I wrote on Goodreads for the other volume of manga I read, called My Pink is Overflowing, I'm actually really proud of. So I will leave that linked down below. I would love for you guys to check it out and give it some love because I'm actually really proud of this review. My girl Mel from over at Mel to the Any, I'm sure y'all know her. She talked about how she does her Goodreads reviews and all that kind of stuff in her vlog today. And I'll leave that linked down below for you. By the way, if you're not subscribed to that amazing human, please do. She's amazing. I adore her. And it just made me realize how short and shallow my reviews have been. So this one, considering it's the first volume of manga in a series, I was really excited to write a review for it. There's one other review up there at this point, I think. I hope there's a few more by the time you guys see that. because this volume of manga was adorable. It was super cute with the perfect amount of like pervy smut to it that it is totally on brand for me. Like, if you guys know my brand of my smut and my cute shoujo, this is like the perfect blend. It is so great. I'm here for it forever. I'm so excited. And I really hope it does get a physical publish, but it has to get enough support in the digital publish to get a physical publish. So y'all need to like make your libraries request it if you don't want to pay for it yourself. Like, I need y'all to read it because it's good. It's so fun. I love it. Please go read it. But anyway, I want to do a video review of My Pink is Overflowing. So if that's up, I'll leave it linked. But I want to work on that tonight because I'm excited about it. It's fresh and I don't want to let it get stale so that my video is still interesting. You know how that goes. And yes, so that's the plan for tonight. I want to at least work on that tonight, at least a little bit. I want to get it's another one of those where I think I'm going to dub over and then have images of things as I talk. That's what feels good to me at this moment. So I think that's the route I'm going to go again. So that's the plan, guys. And it's going to be a good time. After that, maybe I'll do a bath and reading. We'll see. So it's snowing outside and I'm really not happy about it. Anyways, hi guys. So it is officially the 10th of April. So it's day 5 of Fantasyathon for most people, day 6 for me. And clearly last night I didn't read any fantasy because I dug into a contemporary romance for review. And that's just kind of what I decided to do. I don't even really have a good reason why, other than the fantasies that I had picked out aren't really grabbing my attention at the moment. So I've decided to put them both down for the moment. I know. Don't say it. I've already said it to myself. I keep putting The Ruin of Kings down. So right now it's a soft DNF. I don't know if I'm going to get back to it or unhaul it. But for now, it's put aside, it's put down, and that's what we're doing, and that's okay. So, I have 2 other fantasies, though, that I think you guys might be interested in my thoughts on. So, I've put a poll on Instagram to see which one you guys pick. I'll check that out once I've read my Lohali read for the day. So, I've got The Sword and the Dagger, which I picked up yesterday. This is a new YA fantasy that's kind of flying under the radar at the moment, but I think it still sounds really fun, and I'll read a little bit of this. Princess Elaine of Tripoli, forced into an arranged marriage, she wants nothing more than to control her own destiny. Prince Conrad of Antioch, I think, a knight obsessed with honor, he is determined to live up to the legacy of his dead brother Charles. Rashid, trained from childhood by the sect of assassins known as the Nizaris, he has been given a sacred mission to kill the Princess Elaine. During the time of the Crusades, this unlikely trio embarks on a quest to the court of the most fearsome warrior the world has yet to know, Genghis Khan. Okay, so that sounds even better than I originally remembered. So, yeah, it kind of has like the trio that is what's it called? The Kiss of Deception. But then there's Genghis Khan thrown in the middle of it. I think this is going to be a really fun time. So there's that. And then there's a very popular YA release that a lot of people have been talking about. And that is The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman. This just came out this month as well. It came out last week. And I haven't gotten around to it yet. So these are the 2 that I think you guys would be interested in my thoughts on the most. So that is why these are my options. So I'm going to take them both with me to work. But I'm also going to take, so sorry, the Lohali book. And then I'm not going to take Meet Cute so that I'm forced to read fantasy. Unless I just get something off my phone. No, don't even put that in my head. But anyways, so yes. today I'm going to focus on fantasy. Yesterday I didn't like it all, other than my one volume of manga, because I technically read 2 volumes of manga yesterday, one being a shoujo contemporary, the other being a shoujo fantasy. And yes, so that's kind of where we're at this morning. I need to go put on some makeup so I don't look so this, and get to work. You want to say hello to the people? You want to say hi? The cupers. This is his new cuddle position, by the way. Just snuggled up on me. I'm okay with this. Huh, baby? You see yourself? Who's handsome? Good morning, friends. So, it is now Thursday. What is today? The 11th? Yes, the 11th. And it is 7:45 in the morning. I am actually on my way to a therapy appointment. I've got therapy about a 20 to 30 minute drive from here at 8:30. So I thought on my drive I would do a quick update for you guys. So weather's still junky. I did get some reading yesterday. I didn't read anything in Meet Cute. By the time I got home last night, I felt like garbage. So I didn't really read anything once I got home. Plus, I did participate in a podcast over on Apollo Gray's channel. If that is up already, I will leave that linked down below. I'm assuming it will be by the time this video is up, because this won't be going up till next week sometime when I have time to sit down and edit it. So, I ended up reading my volume of Demon Prince from Emoji House. I finally felt like the depth was coming into the story, finally. By volume 6. I wish that would have happened in like volume 2, but here we are. And I really enjoyed that 6th volume, even though I didn't give it a higher star rating than the others, just because it was just okay. I'm just glad there's finally some depth within the story. So it makes me want to go back and maybe lower the previous ratings, because this isn't a 5-star series for me. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is not like my fangirl zone 5 stars in manga by any means. I like the series, but I don't love the series. This is one that once it's all finished, I might reread it one more time and try to get my full thoughts, just kind of reading them all back to back to see if I missed some stuff in the first part, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at this morning. I did also start The Sword and the Dagger. This is the one that ended up getting picked after 2 hours of my poll. By the end of the actual poll, it was actually The Devouring Gray, but it's one of those things where in that time frame, it was The Sword and the Dagger. So I went ahead and started that one. I can understand why this one isn't going to be for everybody, and that is because I've come across a huge trigger for a lot of people, and that is mistreatment of animals, and you could even call it animal abuse, honestly. And so I understand why it's getting lower ratings than some. One thing the book did do well is they addressed that what was happening was wrong, and so they immediately were like, no, this shouldn't be happening, this is not okay. And so it was one of those things where the book handled it fairly well, which is why I can accept it. And thankfully, it's very short. I mean, it's like a paragraph or 2, really, is all I want to say. But I just remember it could definitely be jarring to someone. And this is of a horse, which is a beloved animal. So I want to make that very clear, so that if that's something for you, don't pick up this book. And it's just really, it's handled in a way that I feel is appropriate. And I hope that the princess of our story continues to be a champion for good behavior and all things good in this world. Because right now, that's kind of who she is. She feels like she doesn't need a prince or a king to rule. And, because it's back in the 1200s, she does. And that's also why this prince thinks it's appropriate to mistreat his horse. So clearly I'm not a fan of the prince. At least at this point in the story. I don't think I can ever fully, be on board with him because of how... If that's how he treats an animal, how's he going to treat a person? But that's also something that comes from my past. So maybe I'm projecting that onto this character even though it's not really there. But anyway, I digress. So far, the story is very intriguing. This is very much a political marriage. There's already been an assassination attempt to prevent this political marriage from happening, and it's just really interesting. And I'm only about maybe 50 to 60 pages in. I'm not very far in at this point. So I'm intrigued enough by the story that I want to keep going. But I could understand if somebody DNF'd it at this point. I would not blame them after what I read. I mean, it could have been much, much worse, believe me. But it can trigger someone. So I wanted to put that in this vlog. I don't feel like that's a spoiler because it is such a big trigger for a lot of people. So if you feel spoiled, I'm very sorry. But that has to be said. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. And I'm actually tabbing and annotating this one. I don't typically do this with my fiction novels unless I'm really drawn or pulled towards something in particular. Then I'll mark a quote or whatever. But I decided that I wanted to try organizing it that way to see if I liked that better for the books that I want to review that are maybe less popular on BookTube. Hey guys, so as you saw, I'm settling in to read on my bed, and I told myself that if I get to page 200, I can read another volume of manga today, because I've already read 2. Because I'm a trash can, and I picked up one of my favorite series, and I couldn't wait any longer to read the volume. So I had a little bit of downtime, but not enough to really dig into this. And so I went ahead and read that, and that's Tokyo Terroriba Girls Volume 6. You guys know I love Tokyo Terroriba Girls if you've been around my channel at all. The other thing I've decided today is I'm not going to formally participate in Tome Topple. I'm going to try to squeeze 1 or 2 tomes in during the next couple weeks while it's going on, but I cannot formally participate. I've got too many review copies that I'm behind on, and I really want to get those done in time and so that I can do proper reviews for them. So anyways, thought I would quickly update you since I have mentioned that in this. So yes, I am sad to not be participating. I love participating in Tome Topple, but yeah, I can't justify doing it right now. So note to self, next time Tome Topple comes around, say no to review copies for a little bit so that I can be caught up before Tome Topple starts. But anyways, yes, that's the plan. I am going to read, and I will chat with you when I've read more. Hey guys, so it is the 12th of April, which means it is, I don't even know what day of Fantasyathon it is for me. So I want to say day 9? Maybe? Day 8? Day 9? Somewhere in there? I don't remember. Anyhow, so I wanted to update you on my reading for today, since I haven't updated you, I think, since yesterday. So I have only read about another, I think, 40 pages in The Sword and the Dagger since we last chatted. And so I have finished part 1 of The Sword and the Dagger, and I am of 2 minds about it. So when it comes to The Sword and the Dagger, the concept is really interesting. Our trio of characters, the prince and the princess who are in a political marriage, well, supposed to be in a political marriage together, and the assassin who's supposed to kill the princess to make sure this doesn't happen, are all now on a journey together, as these kinds of stories tend to go. But we know exactly who's who in this scenario, so it makes for an interesting dynamic in the trio. But there are some huge things going on that I'm not 100% sure how I feel. Essentially, the prince is of the mindset of the men of his time period, let's say. So he is not treating the princess very well at all. But he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong because of the way he was raised and the time period that they were in. I mean, we're in Genghis Khan's era, let's be real. Of course they didn't treat their women well. But, you know, it's hard because then I feel like this princess is trying to project modern ideals in this very historical fantasy kind of setting. And it's not like we're in a different world necessarily. This, you know, is supposed to be kind of a real place, and I'm struggling. I want to keep going, but at the same time, I'm having a hard time having the desire to pick it up, if I'm honest. And I don't know if it's just because I've read so much good fantasy during Fantasyathon, and this one's just more mediocre. I don't know. I can't really tell at the moment. So I need to figure this out, and I need to figure it out fast. Because I need to decide if I'm going to keep going or if I'm going to DNF this. So I want to keep going and finish it and review it, because I don't think we're going to see many reviews on BookTube about it because of some of the themes within it, and the historical time setting lends to the women not being treated well. So it's really interesting because at the same time in this story, this assassin responds to the kindness of the princess and hesitates in killing her. So it's really intriguing. This is in the initial conflict that I'm referring to, and this continues to be a theme as we continue to go on in the story, is that the kindness of this princess is what's resonating with this assassin. So I think there's going to be some good themes within this book. So I kind of want to keep going, but there's other themes that are absolutely wrong and horrible and bad. But at the same time, if you look at it from a historical context, it's kind of to be expected. So, like I say, I'm of two minds about it. I need to make up my mind. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pause on it for now, because I'm at a really good pausing point. We're at the end of part 1. And I'm going to focus on the Bazaar's 24-hour readathon, which is happening tomorrow. I might actually start a little bit early and start tonight, because tomorrow is a work day. And I know that I've talked to both the hosts because they're friends of mine, and I said, hey, would it be bad if I started tonight? And they're both like, oh no, we're kind of starting tonight too, because we know we're not going to read for the full 24 hours, like from midnight to midnight tomorrow. So I think what I might do is start some of those reads and that vlog tonight, and then come back to this maybe tomorrow evening after I've kind of had a day of manga cleanse. Granted, I kind of did that yesterday, because when we talked yesterday, I was just sitting down to read The Sword and the Dagger. I read like 10 pages, and my husband came upstairs and I got distracted. And so I ended up reading a bunch of manga for a different video, and I really enjoyed that experiment. And if that video's up, I'll post it. But it's kind of me like exploring some manga series within demographics of manga that I'm not typically leaning towards. I typically lean towards shoujo or josei manga, just because those are the kinds of stories that appeal to me. So in this experiment, I picked up 2 shonen manga and 2 seinen manga, where shoujo and josei are geared towards young adult and adult women. Shonen manga, those are like the more popular manga series or anime series like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, the big ones that you hear about, Dragon Ball Z, those kind of things are shonen manga. And so I don't typically gravitate towards those because I will just consume them via anime rather than reading them. And that might be doing myself a disservice, I don't know, but typically with shonen manga, especially battle shonen, because there are different genres within the demographics, and I talk about it a lot in a podcast. If that's up, I'll link that down below. And yes, so when it comes to that demographic, I don't read that much in it. And then seinen is for adult men, and there's only one seinen series that I've read that I've truly loved so far, and that's A Bright Story. And you guys know I really am enjoying that one right now. I've read the first 3 volumes. I own up to volume 10 now, and I need to get current on that. And once I get through kind of these readathons, I think I'm going to pick a bunch of those up and just make myself happy that way, and it's going to be great. But yes, that's kind of what's going on there. So yeah, I read 2 shonen and 2 seinen manga, and I have thoughts about them, so I want to go ahead and film a video talking about each of them and my experiences reading them and my thoughts as I was reading them. And it's going to be interesting because I know there are some where I won't continue and the reasons vary, and others where surprisingly I think I'm going to. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun experiment to share with you guys. And yeah, I think it's going to be really good. So friends, it is actually Tuesday the 16th now. I realized I haven't put anything up for Fantasyathon for quite a while, so I didn't really properly wrap it up. So when it comes to The Sword and the Dagger, I did ultimately decide to do a soft DNF on that. There's a video linked down below where I talk more about that and my reasons why, and I won't mention them here in this video because I may have already. I can't even remember right at this moment. So anyways, Fantasyathon was great. I do think I burned myself out just a skosh towards the end, and so I ended up not really continuing to read fantasy. I've been reading lots of romance and contemporary since then, and lots of manga because I'm just manga trash. So anyways, that's what's going on. Thank you guys so much for checking out this vlog. I'm sorry it was not the best vlog I've ever done, but I hope you still thoroughly enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.